So how you doing through this quarantine?
I'm patient. Feel like I'm in prison, but in a first-class prison. You know, I get a little bit of liberties. They let me use a vehicle to
Okay.
go to the store, get some stuff, come back, and get back to lockdown. But no, it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say for myself. All I can do is train, and then I'm in the house most of the time. I'm going crazy, Stitch.
Yeah. Well, you know, for you, it's a different scenario altogether because, brother, I've done what you got to do. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
and right now I'm just kind of enjoying life, and you know, I had a good last month before all this kicked in with some good fights, and got a nice residual check for the Creed movies, and it all fell in place. So I'm doing fine.
Well, let's talk on that. How was that the second Creed movie? How did you enjoy that?
Just as much as the first one.
You know, that's where I met you.
Yeah, yeah.
I met you in the Sofitel.
That's where we stayed at the last 2 times.
Yeah, Ibn introduced me to you when I first was trying to. That was the first week I was actually boxing. Do you know that?
No.
The first time I ever sparred anything. That was the first time I ever sparred, and I came and saw you right after.
Really?
That was the first day.
Yeah, it was. You know, it was quite an experience. You know, down. You know, 'cause I spent like 6 weeks. Right, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia with Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, and Ryan Coogler's from Oakland, and I'm from Oakland, right? So, but just to be there, but you know, up around the 4th week, man, I tell Stallone during one of the filmings, because we spend every day like you and I did with KSI.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't sleep at nights. And he said, what's up? I said, man, I'm in my room. I'm thinking, man, what am I doing here? You know, I'm in a movie with Sylvester Stallone, with Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler. I'm playing myself in the movie. Man, he said, you know what? You earned it. And
earned it. I mean,
I came to realize I earned it.
You gone from UFC, you've taken a hit from that, and then started basically rebranded yourself in boxing. Yeah. That is an amazing thing. Most people won't even do that. Most people will say, well, okay, well, since I'm not in one combat sport, I'm just going to be done. They'll just go do something else. But you have your own tape out now. Yeah. It's an amazing thing. I mean, you've been in celebrity YouTube boxing camps. You've been I've seen you in Klitschko's corner, and I've seen you with so many people, you know. So props to you, because most people will quit by the time, you know, got to your wisdom.
Appreciate it, man. And you know, it still blows my mind till now, you know, because, you know, of course you guys are big city guys, right? So I grew up as a farm worker. You know, born and raised in a migrant camp, picking tomatoes and peaches and cotton and apricots and walnuts and almonds and figs. And I tell people, if you ate it, I probably picked it for you. So that's where I came from. And to be where I'm at now, it's you know, that's why I try to stay humble and wishing, because it was a long road, and I've made it. Don't forget where I come from.
And that you are a very humble guy. You're quiet. You got a lot of wisdom, but you know, you just do what you ask, and then you just sit back and relax. You're a cool cat. How have you been able to keep that hair in shape like that? How have you been
gel. My wife just went to Sally's. You know? My wife just came back from Sally's. She got me some nice gel.
I don't even want to show you what's under this hat.
Yeah, let me tell you. That's right.
Stitch, I finally get a haircut tomorrow.
Let me see, man. Come on, brother.
Look at this madness right here. I haven't been able.
All right. It's all right.
Nah,
come on, man.
Stitch, I'm gonna tell you something. As a black man, it has to be edged up like your it got to be as sharp as your jeans.
Yeah.
Nice and crisp.
I know, brother.
Nice and crisp. You know, when I see you come into a room, you're sharp. You know, it's like nothing. Everything is pristine. That's how I need my shape up at all times. So, you know, when I get on camera, I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and put a hat on. And, you know, I can't slick it back like that. I you know, Vegas is finally open, so we get to I can get a haircut for tomorrow. So I'm now.
Well, thank God for caps. To see me, I can't wear caps. Yeah, I look like one of these old Las Vegas old men that should be in a golf course, and I don't want that lifestyle.
I will tell you, I've seen you put a picture up with Edward almost, and
Yeah,
you look like his younger brother. I will say, you guys
yeah.
look really. If you ever decide to like step away from the camera and say, you know what, I need somebody to play me, there you go.
No, no. Let me tell you how it started. I tell you, all these things just happen. Mushin, they just happen. But I've always been a big fan of Edward James Olmos. Of course, he's Chicano, I'm Chicano, but I knew he was going to be at a UFC because him and Anderson Silva were going to be filming an independent film called Monday After 7. And I'm in the back wrapping a fighter's hands, and one of the UFC staff says, "Hey, Edward James Olmos wants to meet you." And I said, "No shit, I'm in." Man, I finished wrapping hands. I go down the hallway. I'm at the MGM. I turn, and how the fighters have the green screens where you take your pictures before and after, and he's standing right there, and we look at each other like I'm looking at you, and we start laughing, bro.
Looking in the mirror.
Same thing.
Looking in the mirror.
Looking in the mirror.
Oh man, that is amazing. So I have a few like important questions for you. Everybody's been asking me, what was the difference? Did they see a difference between KSI and GIB as far as skill and the difference in how we would work with them? What would you say your opinion was on them as you went through the camps with them?
Well, both of them entirely different. All right, and let me start off with KSI JJ. I remember. I knew nothing about him, and to me, I've worked with so many fighters. To me, it was a good opportunity to make some money. But to find out, the situation with the zone and what have you not, and he has 20 million plus followers. So I sit down with him and I start wrapping his hands. And as we're talking, I said, "You know what, man? I didn't know who you were." I said, "But all that is fine and dandy, man. But right here, this is our boxing, bro. I said, you're here for one thing and one thing only, and we're gonna give you first class treatment all the way."
Stitch, boxing is an unbiased sport. It don't matter if you come from the gutter or come from the rich of the rich. If you can fight, you can you can fight. That doesn't matter. It's not biased at all. Color, race, it doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter how strong you are. If you can fight, period.
Yeah. And years ago, when I interviewed Mike Tyson, I was filming a documentary called Boxer's Nightmare, and I said, "Mike, every fighter, you included, have that one little thing that nobody has. I don't care what it is, that one little thing that you guys have. What's that one little thing?" I asked him. Very simply, Mike Tyson says, "Take the pain. You have to take the pain." And as I broke it down, I thought, you know what, man, he's 100% right, because not only in pain, there's pain in the gym, there's pain in the fights, there's pain with your family, there's pain financially, there's pains you following, those are the crises we have to go through to get where you want to get. And I thought that was such a interesting line. Well, with KSI, he was out of his element totally in a whole new sport. And but he excelled to the point where I considered him a professional fighter. He handled himself well for the short period of time that he was given to train, and the mental strength that he had, and the physical strength that he had, and the abilities, he did quite well, man. I was proud of him.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And such a good kid, bro. Listen, the only reason I'm talking to you is because you're such a good kid.
And like I said, like this is a pleasure. Like I know you're a busy guy. Like I know people are calling you left and right, and I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you taking the time out to give me an interview, because I know people pay you for interviews. So I really appreciate this.
Yeah, and we talked about it at Bones Adams' gym.
Oh yeah.
You're doing real well, man. I saw you when you had your vision. You talked to me about it, and so I saw that first step, that first drop of water on the seed, right? And to see what you're doing now, but you and I had talked about it with your wife, is for me to wrap either your hands or her hands, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
talk stories.
We got to do that.
We got to do it, man.
We got to do that. It's going to be story time with Stitch DURAN.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely going to be. That is going to be an enjoyable, video for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
we have to do
get
it.
out of this quarantine. So with this quarantine thing, boxing has been at a halt, and with UFC, Dana White is actually trying to do the smart thing by putting fights on right now, or trying to put fights on even with no crowd. They say that Bob Arum wants to put on fights every week until we get back to normal. How do you think that's going to go?
Well, I'm going to let you know how it's going to go. All right. Got breaking news here on your channel, bro.
Breaking news.
All right. So anyway, I've been talking to Brad Jacobs called me from Top Rank. And of course, they're going to be doing, 2 shows a week. And he called and asked if I'd be interested in being a cutman. And I said, of course.
That's money.
So you're here the first year, but I haven't told my wife.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Do you think it is going to be a deficit with these fights coming up, or do you think it's gonna bring up more broadcast stations?
That's a good question, and the way I look at it, and I say when I got the call from Brad Jacobs, I decided to take his offer on working with him because we are the template of what's going to happen in combat sports in the future. And the thing is that Dana White and them did the first show, but you see some of the mistakes that they did that's been mentioned throughout the media. And so they made the mistakes. I know they made the mistakes. We could correct them. All right. So it's going to be a whole different layout because of what's happening with the virus. And fighter safety is going to be paramount number one. So the question with us as cutmen, how do we change our strategies to work with these fighters and keep them at maximum safety level? So I spoke to Bob Bennett from the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and some of the concerns that they're concerned with is how are we going to treat the wounds? How are we going to use the Vaseline? How are we going to take care of each one of these fighters? So that was a good question. And I tell them I probably have a good answer for you because let me add that Burt Watson, when I was with the UFC, when we first started, Burt Watson, myself, and Don House created the program that they use and every other MMA group uses, including bare knuckle fights. The format that we put together as cutmen to work with these fighters is we offer to wrap their hands and work their cuts. So I helped put that program together, so I understand. But now it's a little different because it's COVID-19, but okay, we make our adjustments. So, we're going to have the swabs are going to be sterile and sealed. I'll let you know that. I'm working with a company right now on making sure that one swab per cut, sterile, you throw it away. For the Vaseline, we're going to be getting the little bottles of Vaseline because it's going to be one per fighter. That's the cost of doing business.
So right?
I ain't done. Hold on, brother.
I'm sorry.
Don't cut me off.
He said I'm not done. I'm very intrigued by this. I'm like, I don't want Stitch to tell us more than anything, but you're a smart man. You're only gonna give me what you want to give me.
Well, yeah, of course. I know how to be politically correct, but you're in the trenches and you just kind of. But I'm giving you what nobody has, and so I've been dealing with these people, and they understand that like Bob Bennett says, you're the premier cut man, and the media's going to be asking you questions, and I said, well, they're asked questions, I'll have answers for them. So the bottom line is, we are there to take care of the fighters, and Bob Arum is going to, all the testing is going to be in place, and everybody has to be on lockdown wherever they're staying at the hotel. Fights are on Tuesdays and they're on Thursdays. So, if I go, then I'll be on lockdown, Tuesday, Wednesday, and go home after the fight's on Thursday and then get retested again the next week and so on and so on. But I'm glad to be part of this historical thing because the whole world is going to be looking at us on how we perform with this COVID-19 in the boxing industry. So you heard it first here, bro.
Well, we appreciate the information and hopefully this is going to be coming out on Sunday. So we're going to make sure that we have all of this. I really appreciate, the information that you're giving me in this.
Well, and let me add, it's important to relay that information to the public and to the media and to everybody, because information and knowledge is key to everything. And right now, there's, with this, what's going on, we know, how would I put it? We know less of what's going on than we know of what's going on. So if I could come up and say, well, here's what I'm going to do, and here's what we're going to do as CUTMAN to do our part in keeping this a safe sport, I want you to know that here's how we're going to do it. And I relayed that information to you, and I'm sure I'll be doing it to others, but you got the first snippet on that.
I appreciate it. Do you think that this will be the new way of boxing, or do you think it'll just be a sample until we can get back to the regular?
Yeah, I think good point. Good question. I think it's going to grow from there. Of course, just like, like the testing, the testing is going to be easier and it's going to be quicker, and so it's going to get better as time goes on. But, I don't think things will really get going till the latter part of this year, where you'll be able to see good people in the audience. Not to say you won't see any, but it's going to be a while. And that's why it's important to do the right things here, so we could be consistent, and we only get better as the program progresses, and fighter safety, we learn as we go. But as we start off with top rank, maximum protection, is going to be the whole key.
1,000%. I definitely agree. My last question for you, and this is if the right money came along, would you go back to UFC?
Nah, brother. I'm a proud Mexican.
Guns.
That water left long time ago, man. People ask me, "Hey, man, have you seen Dana?" Dana and I were. Well, he says we weren't friends, which is great because it made me the good guy, right? But I knew him in the gyms, bro. I knew him in the gyms where we were working with fighters, and he was doing pads for housewives and executives and all that. But he was in there, and he's the one that brought me in, so I got to give him respect for that. He's the one that let me go and said on Fox TV that Stitch and I were never friends, and but people say, "Have you seen Dana since that?" I said, "Nah, nah." Well, if you saw him, what would you say? I said, "Man, I'd go over there and I'd shake his hand. I said, man, thanks for letting me go, bro. That's the best thing ever happened to me."
Exactly. You're a respectable man. I know you like you said, politically correct, and Denzel Washington had a quote. He said, would you let, if you had $86,000, would you, if somebody took $60 away from you, would you mind? Would you care? Would you try to go after him and waste all that money just to try to go after him? And of course the answer would be no, most of the time. And then he said, that is the same amount of minutes, or that is the same amount of seconds that is in a day. So why would you give someone the time, a minute of your time, if it's not worth it? So I understand that you have that wisdom. You are the man who wouldn't give. If somebody stole $60 from you, you're not going to spend the $86,000 just to get that $60 back, for sure. So
no, I always share the money that I have, bro. It's just,
that's why you are where you are.
Yeah, for me, I'm just proud and honored to be in the position that I'm at, and I know I'm that chosen one. I know. I think you and I talked about it in the gym.
Oh yeah.
And I said, I do. I feel like I'm the chosen one, and it had to happen to somebody. It just happened to be me, bro.
Hey, and guess what? We are happy that it happened to you, because most people would not take the time to give back like you do.
Yeah.
So
hey, let me close by saying, like, Raheem, hey, Snitch, when are you gonna get together with me and show me how to wrap pants? I think he's asked me 10 times, and I've given him my card 10 times. I said, man, the ball's in your court, as your brother. So whenever he wants to learn how to wrap pants, just give me a call. But I think
I'm coming to you. I promise you. Once we get this thing done, whenever your schedule's not busy, whenever Top Rank is not flying you somewhere, We gonna get that thing done for sure.
Now you'll like it, man. It's you know, the one thing I have is through all these experiences, Mushin, is I got a ton of stories, man. Ton of stories.
Oh yeah.
You know, and for those that haven't read my book, you can go to Amazon.com. It's called From the Fields to the Garden. Growing up as a farm worker and make it to Madison Square Garden. Been there and done that.
Stitch, I promise you, I'm buying that book today.
You should.
I'm going
to
get that book today. I didn't even know you had a book out.
Man, I've been in 6 movies, books. I got my own top trading cards. I had my own line of shirts.
I know all of that, but I didn't know you had a book. So I'm gonna make sure I go get that book today.
Yeah, it's a good book, man. You know, things just happened to me much real quick. I know you got to go, but
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, I've you know, during the era with the UFC, when Matt Hughes and Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell and Tito and all these guys, they were having books written on them, and that was a big thing. So Matt Hughes had a book written on his life, and his author took my wife and I out to dinner and was interested in writing a book. And I'm the kind of guy, if you want to do it, let's do it. And but nothing ever came. So I get a call from Zach Robinson. He's a school teacher in Germany. He contacted me, and he's written books called Sports by the Numbers, and said he was a big fan and wanted to know if I'd be interested in working together and having a book written on my life. And I know I have a good story. So just by the faith of God, man, 2 weeks later, he lives in Germany. Well, Klitschko's fighting. Vitaly's fighting in Germany. So he's 30 minutes away from the fights. So we meet, and he played baseball. I played baseball. You know, he's a Midwestern kid. We shook hands. We wrote the book, and on Amazon.com became a top seller for sports biographies. Wow. So I wrote the first one, From the Fields to the Garden, growing that I grew up as a farm worker, and my goal was to make it to Madison Square Garden. Well, then the UFC let me go, and I had so many other stories that people kept asking about the second book. So there is From the Fields to the Garden 1 and 2.
Nice. Very nice.
Check it out. You'll like it. It's a good book.
I'm gonna need you to sign my book when I get them.
And, you know, with Marika, I know she's a school teacher. That's the kind of book that's good for students. It's very inspirational, and you know, anything's possible. Look at you.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. I started at 21. Most people kept telling me, brother, like, why are you starting boxing at this time? You know, it's not. And I just was like, you know what? I enjoy it. That's what I like. And now I'm thank God I'm 6-0, and I'm just trying to be like you eventually. So I'm, like you said, learning, staying humble, giving back to the people, and not being full of yourself as you go up, you know. So you always want to be thankful, like you said, you know.
I've always said, man, is I'm going to the top, and I'm taking the bus. If you want to get on the bus with me, get on, man, because I'm going with or without you, you know. And as Eddie Mustafa Muhammad says, he told me, I said, man, Eddie, I want to be like you. I said, nah, brother, you be better than me. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's my goal, is to be better than Eddie Mustafa Muhammad.
Hey, there you go. My goal. Eddie Mustafa told me the same thing, and I said, I'm gonna try to be better than him. Hopefully, we'll get there one day. But Stitch, of course, I know your Instagram is Stitch DURAN it's just Stitch DURAN, right?
At Stitch DURAN, yeah.
At Stitch DURAN. You guys make sure you go follow him. The guy has you know, over 20K followers already, but make sure you go follow him. You know, this guy is an inspiration to boxing. Many people love him outside of boxing. You know, I've come to love this guy, and you know, just being with him throughout the KSI and ANESON GIB+TELS training camps. You know, I've really come to love this guy. So when I see him, it's always a big smile on my face. Stitch, I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. But let me close now. I ain't gonna let you get off the hook that quick, man. Let me just mention you talk about KSI and GIB working together with these guys. You know, you were way beyond your age when it came to teaching. And, you know, I was a coach before. I've been through all the whole system. So I know talent and skill levels when I see them. And the way somebody explains themselves is the most important way to teach somebody. And your knowledge goes beyond your ages, man. But working with you was fun. It was fun, and I hope we could do it again. You know,
hope so. Hopefully it's in my camp, so we can go ahead and we can get everything done. Hopefully, I cannot wait till that point where I can go ahead and hire you as my cutman throughout my camps and going to the championship belt.
No, here we go. Where you're at right now, but listen, if I'm in town, I got them. It's on the house, man.
My
you
man.
know, so you're part of the trifecta, because now, well, actually before them, because I work with KSI, with Vidal, with GIB. Now I got to close it out with you, man.
There you go.
You know,
well, we're gonna make history. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're gonna make history.
Well, keep up the hard work, man, and congratulations
so much.
YouTube and all that. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Stitch. I really appreciate it. Give the wife my greetings. Tell her I said hello. Of course, Miriam, she adores you.
Yeah,
she always loves to talk with you. She's always asking about you. She's like, did you check on Stitch? You know, throughout the quarantine? I'm like, no, I need to go check on him. And she's asking about you. She loves you. You know, she loves talking with you. She says you're a very, very smart man. So, you know, I really appreciate it. So give the family my
Shukran.
My man, okay. Shukran, F1. If anybody doesn't know what that means, shukran means thank you in Arabic. So, you know, Stitch is a wise man, so he picks up on the things that he learns. So, all right, Stitch. Thank you so much, man.
Pleasure, my man.
For us Muslims, salamu alaikum. And you say wa alaikum
salam.
assalam, my man. All right, Stitch, I'll see you later.